This is not a video I really want to make. However, I think that someone might be able to get something from hearing my story. I just thought about it today and I realized I've made it 3 months without any cannabis. This is pretty big for me. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time I've done this. It is the most recent though, and hopefully I leave this thing in the year 2023. So, I did the Sober October Challenge. I took my own spin on it, and my goal this year was to have no drugs or alcohol all of October. I left alcohol in the year 2022, so 2023 was my first year sober. I plan on leaving drugs in the year 2023. I actually messed up my Sober October. The very first day, I was still using cannabis and nicotine, and that's not something I like to admit, but that's the truth. I made a lot of progress this year. I went a period of 4 months without cannabis, without nicotine. I then went another period of 3 months without it. I took certain weeks without it. And at the very end of the year, from October 2nd until basically today's now January 3rd. It's past midnight, so it's January 3rd. And that means I have made it a little more than 3 months without cannabis, right? That's big for me, like I said. Now, this is something that I have struggled with for the better part of 5 years now, maybe 6 years. I was first introduced to marijuana through edibles, like gummies. This is the first way I was introduced to it. I didn't know about smoking. I didn't know much about it. I was fairly new and maybe even tricked into thinking that this is something which would not have a harmful effect on my life. I don't blame anyone but myself for this. I was the one who chose, at the end of the day, to try this substance, and so that's on me. The next way I was introduced to it was through vaping. A lot of people in my age group and even younger, a lot of people from my generation seem to like their vapes. And so I was very against cigarettes, nicotine. I was convinced, though, that cannabis is something which couldn't harm me. So I tried vaping, and I tried it quite a few times. And I thought there's nothing wrong with this. I thought this is a safe and healthy drug, right? So I kept using it, and whenever the opportunity presented itself, I would use it. I'd never go out of my way to buy it, but if my friends were using it, I'd be using it too. And again, this was a personal choice. I don't blame anyone for this. Eventually, I started to escalate things in my life. I was drinking quite a bit of alcohol. I had started using nicotine, maybe because smoking started becoming a normal social behavior within my friend group and within people I met. I started to try to rationalize this as something which is normal and not bad for you. And I could not have been more wrong. I rationalized this, and so I let it infiltrate my life even further, right? I let myself make the decision to pick up cigarettes, pick up nicotine vapes, pick up cannabis vapes, start buying them myself, going after these substances. And that was not the right decision to make. That led me down a path of pain that was completely unnecessary. Please excuse the heater. It sounds like a jet engine. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but it sounds like a jet engine. So, back to what I was saying. I made the active decision to use these substances, and because of that, I went down a path of pain. My relationships suffered from it. Eventually, I escalated to using even harder substances, and this all could have been avoided had I just made the decision to stay away from this stuff. When I was younger, I had this straight edge mentality of drugs are bad, right? Drugs are bad. And that included alcohol. That included nicotine and cannabis and all this stuff. And as I got older and was not experienced with this stuff, I had not seen what kind of effects it would have on people. I didn't know any better. I thought that, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I could try it. Maybe once in a while it's okay. Maybe once in a while. And I was wrong about that. I was wrong. I don't know whether these things are bad. I will admit that right now. I know for me, they were. They were real bad for me. So, I've been making the active decision, I've been living a more active lifestyle in which I make the decision to remove these substances from my life. I don't drink. I don't hang out with people who drink anymore. I don't smoke. I don't hang out with people who smoke anymore. And my life is only improving because of it. There are, of course, certain periods of time which may seem boring, or I may feel lonely. That's the cost of the life I want to live. And that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make to achieve my goals. I could suffer through some loneliness. I can suffer through quite a lot. And my use of substances, in a way, was me trying to avoid suffering, me trying to run away from myself and what I was truly capable of. And so, now, I've made it 3 months off of cannabis. I will admit right now, I had nicotine one day in November, so unfortunately, I'm not celebrating, 2 little milestones at once. It's just one for today. But it's a big one for me because this is a substance which has seriously infiltrated my mind deeply over the past 5 to 6 years because I have let it. And it's taken a lot of active, hard work to get myself off this stuff and living a much cleaner life, a much more active and much more conscious life. So, just know, if you are struggling with these substances, if you think that maybe this isn't for me, maybe I am struggling and I shouldn't be using this stuff, maybe I could be a lot more than I am right now, and this stuff is holding me back, just know, you can stop as well. You can can get off of the stuff, you can remove yourself from that environment, and you have the active will, you have the will within you to make the decision to not stop by a smoke shop, not see that friend who always wants to roll something up, or not go to that party where you know there's going to be drinking and smoking and drugs and other vices which may pull you away from your goals. Know that you can do it. If I can do it, absolutely anyone can. I had a real tough time last year, honestly. 2023 was not my best year. I made tons of mistakes, and still, there were a lot of points that shined for me. Like the first 4 months, I went basically drug free. I kind of fell off in April. I made a ton of mistakes in April. I picked it back up in the summer. I picked it back up. I got my life together, and I started doing better again. And then I fell again, right? We all fall down. The important thing is that I picked myself up. And because I picked myself up, I was able to fall down again. And because I fell down again, I was able to get up again. In October 1st, I made sure I threw out all of my substances, my nicotine vape, my cannabis vape. I got rid of it. I said, enough is enough. I'm doing Sober October. Even if I failed the first day, I'm doing Sober October my way. I'm staying drug free the rest of the month. And guess what? It stuck. Like I said, I had a little slip up in November. I bought a nicotine vape, but I didn't fall like I did the other times. I caught myself. I fell on one knee. I got back up. One day. That's all right. I can make this thing work. So, because of that, I'm 3 months clean from cannabis, and I couldn't be happier, honestly. I am super grateful to be celebrating this little milestone. I'd like to take it much, much further, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I will be back in another one. Bye.